and amateur.
Got it. I know.
We're on, and I think we're on, and I think I'm unmuted. Firstly, fellas, a real pleasure to be on, and you got a great team here, or leader in Jaren. You know, we met. It's probably 3 years ago, I think now, and was instantly drawn to you and Jamie for just the people you were. You know, we saw like-minded things in each other. And, you know, just plus it does bring people together, doesn't it? I think there's a given that once you step up to the plate, that you're a certain sort of person. And if you're new to the call, if this is new to you, just be relaxed with that, right? Just know that that's probably one of the very first gifts that this business comes, is that you get to turn up how you are and you're going to be accepted. I remember at the conference you just mentioned there, Jaren, that Jay Martin, the founder, and I always love his address. You know it's going to be funny. You know it's going to be humorous. But he said something that really made sense to me. And that was, you know, you're in a room where everyone has your back. And whether or not you've been to conference, whether or not you've been to a small event, I hope you've been to at least a small one, but that's how it goes. And in this community, that's a given in this Juice Plus business. I don't believe it would be the same way in all network marketing companies. I certainly know it's not the way in broader industry and other professions. And having worked, as Jaren said, 25 years, I worked in the wine industry. I was lucky enough to do that. And I had a great time with that. That's definitely a passion project, working in the wine industry, because it's all about lifestyle. I also spent 10 years in real estate investments, and that's obviously a lot more geared up. But in that industry, the thought that everyone had your back in a room, forget about it, right? Everyone in my office didn't have my back. I remember working in organizations and having to, you know, lock my office, lock my drawer, lock my leads. And I don't know if you've ever done that, but the notion that you can't share a good lead or a good tip or a good training tool or something you've learned, probably you might use it or get to it before you, and that's a sale, and you need that sale, right? That was a revelation for me to actually be part of. It's just maybe the first part of what I wanted to share with you. If you are new and that's a different mindset for you to wrap your head around, then you got it, right? Just, you don't have to question it. You just want to get there. So what would we like to go through? I guess, you know, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Linda and I, we were living in the US, and we got put onto Juice Plus. It was 12 years ago. The product instantly made sense. You know, I was a good, dutiful husband. I did what I was told. It's, hey, honey, we've got these tablets. Okay, I'll take them. And that's what I thought they were. I say that a little tongue in cheek because Linda had tried several things, and I was actually pretty scrupulous. I was going to have thing, and I'll take anything. But within 2 to 3 weeks, I noticed some differences in my health. There's a lot of guys on the call here. Chances are there's one of you who is not taking the product consistently every day. I'll say to you, take the product consistently every day, because it doesn't work if you don't, right? It does not work. I know that. But if you take it, you'll find benefits. And for me, that product belief began early because I got results. So if you're thinking through your business or where you're at and you're not a product of the product, you've got to take it, right? You've got to take it. I know for a long, long time, I did not take the shake. I thought it was for girls. I thought it was just a chick thing. The girls, they want, I'm going to eat, right? Give me lunch. Where's the roast chicken? Where's the steak? I'll give me meat and veg. Right? I'm here for a meal. This is not a meal. And then I met a guy. He was from the UK, and he was a big unit. He was buffed. He was pumped, and he loved it. And I said to him something about the complete, and he said he'd had it. And I said, oh, yeah? What? How often do you have that? He said, what do you mean, how often? He said, every day. I said, oh, right. And I said, how many? He goes, I don't know, 5 or 6. I'm like, oh, my God. He's a big guy, right? Now, I'm not saying you're going to have 5 or 6, but he was plowing through it at that level. And physically, he was the embodiment of what you would say was successful. So I thought, well, I've got to change my attitude on that. And that was it. And from that day, I love the complete. I have that mid-morning, and that's it. So be a product of the product. You guys have got one or two more products than us in the US, but the final point I'll say is if you're not taking the Omega blend, order it today. There's nothing that your body will scream out for more than essential fatty acids when it becomes deficient. And if you think that you're not going to get deficient in them, you're human, right? If you're not ingesting, your body cannot manufacture it. If you're not taking a supplement or eating a lot of wild caught salmon, avocados, chia, nuts and seeds every day, right, you're not getting enough oil, and it will show up. I have so many stories. I have such a high belief in the omegas, and I have now such a high level of conviction that I've seen remarkable stories of turnaround for people. Look out for people when you talk to them. Ask them, how are you? If they say, no, all right, well, what's going on? And if they even hint and suggest that anything to do with anxiety, depression, not feeling focused, not feeling clear, anything to do mentally, then ask them this question. Say, let me ask you this. Do you take an omega supplement every day? And they're going to give you one or two answers. The answer is yes or no. If the answer is no, we get to that. If the answer is yes, then I say, what is it? And if it is a fish oil, if it is a fish capsule, if it is anything but our product, or there's a handful of other high-grade, all plant-based oils on the market, if they're not taking one of those, that is it. And I will stand in that conviction and say, this is a must. You must take this. This will save your life, right? So if you're not sure on our products, if you're not taking them all, and your business is not where you want it to be, take all the products. Find the belief you need in them, right? So there's our products. You know, when I was fortunate enough when I started looking at this as a business that I'd had such product belief in it because I've been on the product for so long, right? But when you're talking to anyone out there, let them know I've assessed the product range. And I personally, I looked at it like this when I was stepping into it in the business. You know, yes, I love the products and I had that belief, but people want to know, hey, you know, is there a need for them in the market? You have to be able to answer that, and you have to be able to pre-frame that for people. What I found was a need. I was a business guy. I was traveling. What I found was that I had a need for high nutrition. What I saw was a very convenient way to get it. Okay? You have to look at it and be able to tell them the products are well priced. You have to have that belief in them. And I say to this, people, you know, if you go buy a cold pressed juice, it's, you know, $8, $9, $10. You can get Juice Plus in Australia. It's $4 a day for the premium. A big glass of water, you reconstitute that. Now you've got your cold pressed juice. No mess, half the price. So you've got to have a conviction that the product, what it is, the price, that it's got a need. And I had all my questions answered on that. So find out where you're at around that. Find out what beliefs you'd need to have. As I said, as a businessman, and I've been in business, approaching that, you know, is there a product need? Is it well priced? Okay. And is there profit in it? Is there profit for the company? Is there profit for distributors? And is there a fair deal for the consumer? On those for yourself so that you have that conviction. Right? I had all those questions. I had them answered. I did my homework. I got them answered. Right. The next thing that I looked at was the company. And again, this happened for me over time. If you're new to this or you're sharing this with someone, you've got to understand these big picture beliefs on it. You know, when you assess any business, you want to have a look at the company, at the management. Okay, is the management sound? Okay, is this something that I could hitch my ride to for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Okay, knowing that this company is going to be in place, that they've got the vision, that they've got the finances, they've got succession plan, that they've got the intelligence. I had all my questions answered with this company. What I saw was the same leader at the helm after 40 years. I saw a succession plan with a highly intelligent CEO and management team coming through in Paulo Teixeira. And he saw a company, no doubt, privately owned, over 10 billion in sales. And I had my questions answered on that. Now, in the network marketing world or any world that you might go into, if you can have a great product, it can meet a need, it can have the profit, it can have all those things. But if you don't have a management team and a company structure that's going to make sure it's here in 5 or 10 years, what are you backing? And you've got to have answers on that so you can take that to any potential customer or distributor and answer them, right? The next thing I really looked at was the remuneration. I'm like, okay, can I get paid in this? Right? Now, if I could see everyone on the line, I'd ask you and I'd say, right, who's been in sales before? Some of you probably has. Who's had their own business? Right, I can see you. Okay, I've been in sales and I've had my own business. So the first thing I needed to know was, okay, am I going to make money? Now, I knew I'll make money if I answered it under 3 categories. The first, can an entry-level person who doesn't know a lot, who hasn't got a lot of time, maybe hasn't got a lot of self-belief, get involved with this business and make 200, 300, 400 bucks a month? Pretty easy and pretty early on without too much upheaval. And the answer was yes. I thought, great, okay, because there's a lot of people out there like that. I then looked at it and thought, well, is there scope for someone with a medium level of desire who would apply themselves part-time and put in a good amount of effort over time to build a business that could maybe pay them $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month? Because for a lot of people, that's their max end dream, right? And the answer was yes, because I knew. And then I answered the question, I did my homework and I said, is there the potential for someone with an above average level of desire who will commit and do it as a professional to really get in and make big income? And of course, at conference, I saw that happening and I met those people. And I was able to answer yes to that question. I thought, all right, well, now there's a remuneration package that I am comfortable with and that I believe will reward anyone that will get involved with this. Because we're going to speak to family and friends, right? And we don't want the next fly-by-night, or we don't want to be putting thoughts in people's minds that, hey, you can make it, but they can't really. So you have to have 100% belief in that. Okay, the next thing I really wanted to look at was systems, all right? Is as a business person, right? And many of you, sure, in business, I needed to make sure that there was going to be a system in place that would really support all my efforts. Now, having had my own business, having been in distribution, manufacturing, distribution, warehousing, man, that's a tough grind, right? And you got to fund all of that. I didn't want to take on board all of that risk and stress ever again. I still remember from my own business, the very last day we got the order in for the final piece of inventory we had. I remember ringing Linda and saying, honey, it's done. It was such a relief, right? Man, that thing, you can get cooked out there. So I didn't want to enter that space again, but I knew the value in building a business and my skill set would be in the sales. And if I could have a company where I just simply put the customer in touch with the company, they shipped the product, they did the invoicing, the billing, the credit control, they did all of that, the warehousing. All I really had to do was get my commission check. They did the statutory regulation. They'd invest in themselves. They'd invest in research. I thought, well, fantastic. Now all I have to do is really step into the space I'm going to be good at, and they'll pay me a monthly commission. I love that. Okay. And back to that remuneration, I knew the more I applied myself, the bigger that commission could be. So I knew that there was systems that the company would offer. And what I saw in addition to that was there was scope for me. And Linda was certainly many years in. I'd seen the business she'd built. I knew there was space for me to have creativity, to actually have some of my own voice, some of my own say as an entrepreneur, to not just simply follow a line and not be able to work outside of a very confined space. There was space for me to do that. Be creative, have fun, get excited, get involved, put in programs. And I thought, well, that's exciting because there was systems in place and I could develop them and market them. And the final thing, I really assessed looking at as a business was the timing. And, timing is everything, right? In property, we hear it. It's location, location, location. In business, it's timing, timing, timing. And I saw many things happening in big business in the world around me that led me to make this the perfect timing for me. Now, it may not be for you, but I'll tell you my story so you can grasp what I mean by timing. I saw businesses like Uber and Airbnb come from nowhere and become multi-billion-dollar industries in a very short space of time using social media and changing perceptions of how people, spent their money. Right? And no dropship become a household term. And I would dare say there might be one bloke on the call who's never ordered anything on the internet and turned up on his doorstep. I promise you, your wife has. She'll hide that from you, but she's got a lot of packages delivered to her door. That's called drop shipping. And our business is no different. That's what we're doing. We're getting people to put an order in and the company delivers it to the door. And that is now a very, very modern way, acceptable way for households to have products delivered. So I saw a timing happening with this industry and the advent of social media breaking down barriers and allowing the speed of communication to happen very, very fast with a high level of credibility. And so the last piece of the timing was me. Now, I was in an industry where I'd had made big money. I was on a high six-figure salary, multiple six-figure salary, but things very the industry. I was in investments and property. The banking sector changed. I had no control over that. That impacted our sales as a company. The company decided, well, we can't pay the bonuses. We also need to restructure the commissions. And in the space of about 2 hours, I still remember the meeting actually happening about I'd income to getting about, and that was fearful, man. I got angry and I got scared, and I thought, but shit, dude, you want to get some control over this. You want to get out and actually seriously have a look at Juice Plus. And that timing for me became very, very clear then. So I put it to you guys that these are the questions and how you'd want to be assessing your opportunity, how you see this business. You know, go through the product. Are you a product of the product? Are you taking it? Have you got enough compelling evidence yourself or in stories around your team or home that you could confidently share it with someone? Do you understand that, the pricing and that it's competitive in the market? Do you know who your competitors are? Okay, and if you don't, find that stuff off. You don't have to do it all overnight, but these are the questions you want to start asking. Do you understand how we get paid? Do you understand and believe that anyone you could introduce this to could hit their goal if it's their goal? Not everyone's a year, but just as some people are only going to be happy and you blow them up if you suggest that much, they only want to be $500 a month. And are you convinced then that you have a system that you could introduce that person to and plug them in? And for some of these people, it's going to be about community. Are you able to plug them into that? That helps them achieve their goals. And are you clear on what that system is? And have you got a way to induct them? Have you got a way to teach them through so they don't come back and say, it doesn't work? It doesn't work. I like your product, but your company doesn't work. This doesn't work. I can't do it. Well, you can. You're not following the system, though. Are you clear on the company? I think that's a bit of an easy one. And then you've got to build your belief in these and find your timing. Some of the big things we look at in our team, everyone knows how to get to what we call, SDVF. That's our term here in Australia. I mean, that's it. I think it's VF for you guys. That's the milestone. Everyone comes in, has that, early in the piece put on their board, because that's our building block, right? You get to VF, you become anything in this business. You get to VF, then teach someone to get to VF. And they teach someone, and then you elevate and move up the ranks. So we don't teach someone to become an NMD. We teach someone to become a VF, and then to teach someone else to become a VF. So if you don't understand that process, that would be what you're getting clear on. We look at and know that, clearly the community is a part of it, but more so than that, it's about events, and it's about plugging in, and it's about getting the people who are unsure, to conference or to a major event. So you want to know when the next major event is in your area, when it is, what that looks like, what that person can expect. And if you're a leader in this business, you want to be there. And if you're unsure in this business, you'd want to be there. And you want to be able to say to anyone in your organization, hey, let's go. Let's go. I'm like, I haven't been, but I'm going because I think I got to be there. Right? You want to have that level of conviction, whether it's just around excitement or business building or learning the professionalism or what it is. Because what happens is when you get to a major event, all of these things that I've been talking about, you're getting them answered without even asking the questions, right? I saw the product on play because of Linda and the team and everyone that was talking about it. Okay, I saw those stories. I saw the company. I didn't really even have to articulate those questions, but I saw Jay Martin speak. I saw Paula Teixeira. I saw 6, 7, 8,000 people. I thought, this is big. I pushed to find out the annual sales. They wouldn't tell me. I pushed. And I finally got to figure it was over 10 billion. I said, great, I'm getting my questions answered. I still remember that with Sean Hopkins. Man, he was a bit put out that I was asking him in front. I said, tell me, buddy, come on. This is sales. Why, let us know. You're going to get those questions answered at conference about the company. You're going to get, the systems. You're going to see that at play. You're going to see the resources. I think that's probably more of a localized thing. We call it Start Strong. You might call it your onboarding, however that works. That's part of the system. Don't get lost in get lost teaching a new person how to log on and induct people through the VO and all the rest. Just, make it simple. We have a one-pager for people who start. If they get through the one-pager, we know they're excited. Righto, they've done the first page. When they've done that, let's give them a 3-pager. Okay. Now they're away. When they get through that, that's their time frame. Some people are going through that in a week, right? If they get through that, great. Now they get an 8-pager, right? With more content, but you can't give them a 12-pager front up to start with. We've tried that. You give them that to start with, they freak out. Oh my God, where do I start? Right? Because we've got mums and guys who are finding stolen moments. So assess your business and assess your own level of understanding across those categories, right? And, start to see where there's holes in your awareness and understanding and get those questions answered. When you've done your homework, and be proud of that. Be proud that you know the answers. No, this is not going to be for everyone. It can't possibly be, right? But if you get to understand someone well enough, then you have the option, you have the avenue to put forward a proposal on it. Okay, I went to a GoPro seminar a few weeks ago and I learned a wonderful technique that I'm now really, really embracing. And it's simple, and we know this, right? First is you got to be interested in people. Take an interest. I think there's that line. What is it? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. All of that stuff. Be interested in people. People feel that. Be interested. And then, just when you talk to them, interview them. Get excited about meeting someone and finding out as much as you can. You can sit with someone for an hour and a half and barely talk. I remember back in my corporate sales day, I used to have one-on-one sort of training, and I'd come out, we'd do role play. And I had a great mentor and leader in that. And he'd said, hey, we'd finish that and he'd go, how do you feel after that one? I said, I feel great, man. I really think, it was pretend, but you got it and this and that. He said, I bet you feel great. You didn't shut up. All you did was talk. You said, of course you're going to feel great. You did nothing but talk. So I had a very good lesson that asking, if you can get people to talk, you do that by asking good questions. You'll not only learn about them, but they will come away from that interaction feeling good about themselves. They go, geez, that Jaron, man, he's great. I feel wonderful talking to him. And it's because you let them talk, right? So be interested and interview them, all right? Interview them, and then don't gush it out and I've got something for you. Of course you do. You talk to someone for an hour, I promise you they will reveal through questions that they have either a gap in their health or a gap in their finances and income, or a gap in their self-belief. Now, we have a business that can deliver on all three of those. The key is that you don't gush it out there on the spot and go, oh my God, I've got something for you now. And it's hard at the start, right? It's hard because you want to say, oh, dude, I've got something. You should have a look at this. You shut up and go, man, I'd love to meet you. I've got to fly. Let's speak again soon. And then over the next few days, you let that digest and they know, wow, I feel great about that. I can't wait to talk to that guy again. And then you message him. Hey, man, loved meeting you. You keep the conversation going. And now you have permission and a space to say, I've been thinking about you. And you know what we're talking about? Geez, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is for you, but maybe it is. I'd love to share something with you. Or I'd love to work with you. Or whatever it is. And that's how, if you approach this business, you will build a network, a trust account that's unlimited. It doesn't have to happen overnight. You build relationships like that and people will come back to you again and again. And I'm very fortunate that I have that happen. And the more I build this business, the more I have that happen. So guys, that's That's sort of what I got, I reckon. That's I could go over some stuff, but I just want to keep it concise as well. So, Jaron, maybe back to you, buddy. And if you've got any questions there, I've sort of got maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. If there's anything you wanted to round out with or questions.
Yeah, I feel there's 94 people out there, and I feel if I open that floor to questions, you're not going to get out of here in 1 or 2 minutes. But I will. I'll tell you what. I'll send it out to everybody afterwards. If they've got something they want to ask, I'll get with you through Messenger, or email, something. I'll send something if you got some time, maybe to follow up with a few questions and things like that when you get a chance to type back. But we can't thank you enough. I definitely took a bunch of notes here. As always, I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in Tampa, man.
Yeah, listen, Tampa. I'm not sure we're juggling. We're definitely commit and coming through to the West Coast Conference every year. That's certainly
Okay.
manageable for us.
What's
Yeah,
another
and I
like
guess
6 hours?
yeah, I know, right? That's a maybe. I've got 1 more minute. I'll sort of leave it with this as well. I know that there's that. I think the biggest question on anyone doing this business, or the hardest part and the biggest leap, is what do I say to them? What do I say to them? What do I send? What do I say? How do I introduce it? How do I go from being friend to talking about Juice Plus? How do I get them the link, the thing? How do I share that? And there's no perfect way, right? There's no script that can teach you that. You be their friend, and it takes 5 seconds of courage. And you've got to learn that by practicing, right? You've got to try things out. You've got to do that, and you'll get no answers back. I had full girl I met lately, suggestion for her, never heard back, but just might be, hey, she didn't get back to Messenger yet. But the only way to do this is to try things, and when you have a genuine communication and you genuinely understand and can see space for people, then you just step through that gap as quick as you can and say, hey, I might have something for you. Have you got 2 minutes for me to share? And then you're across it. Now you put it there. And from there, then you're clever. You're a businessman. You've got tools. You've got a 3-way call. You've got a link to send. You're getting on that call and you're not talking. You're asking them more questions. And there you go from there. And you do that, you're going to be amazing in life and in relationships, and particularly in this business, because that's all this is.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to speak for everybody else and just say thank you so much for your time. Please go support your daughter. I know you're busy. I appreciate that a lot. And we'll talk very soon again. I know it.
Listen, be doing great things. We'll speak again.
Sounds good. Thank you, James.
Okay.
Guys,
Bye-bye.
Just a few minutes here.